Today, we're talking about how to use the 48 laws of power to trick men into giving you everything you want, give you princess treatment. Basically, this is the 48 laws of power for girlies, for baddies, okay? And before we get into it, I want to just say very quickly that this is not a video for the girlies who say, I don't like playing games. We should all just be friends and love each other. And I don't want to be fake. This video is all about strategy and using the laws of power that a man has written down to outsmart men so that you can get everything that you want and everything that you deserve in your life. And you're going to have to make changes in your life. You're going to have to do something different that maybe not feels authentic to you. But you know what? On the other end of that, you're going to be able to get everything that you want. And in the end, you will have to do whatever you want to do. You can do whatever you want to do because you are strategic to set yourself up for life. Okay? So this is all about strategy. Law number 1 is never outshine the master. And what does that mean for the girlies? Well, that means you should let men think that they're all that. That does not mean that they're all that. That does not mean they're completely competent or capable or that you can't do things better than they can, because I know you can. But if you want men to do more things for you, if you are a girly who wants to do less, who's tired of being burned out, who's tired of always having to just do more in general, you're going to have to act like men are competent. You're going to have to inspire that competence within men. You kind of have to seem like, wow, you can really do all of that. And the way that you inspire men to do more for you is to not act like, oh, women are all that. Women are better than men. We know they are. But you gotta kind of act like, wow, men can really do a lot for you. When you act like men can do a lot for you in their company, they're going to be inspired to do more for you. The way that you get men to provide for you is to act like they are going to provide the second that you meet them. Basically, oh, I'm so happy you're here. I love a guy who's always treating me nicely and who's always, I love a guy who takes care of his woman. This is also why it could be a really, really good idea to learn how to play dumb. Because the reason why these men don't want to do anything for you and you're burned out is because you're acting like you're the boss. And I'm not saying you're not the boss, but you are acting like you're the only one who knows how to do things right. And that's why they don't want to do anything for you. Like, you're constantly correcting them. You're constantly altering what they're doing. You're saying you need to do this better. Sometimes you gotta let men do things instead of you doing them perfectly, because in the long run, if you could get more men to do things for you, that means that you'll have to do less, even if it takes them like 3 hours longer to do what you're usually doing in like 15 minutes. If they're doing it for you, that's a win. You're doing one less thing, okay? When you have that boss girl attitude towards men every time you see them, you think you might be showing that you're capable, but you know what? You're really inspiring fear and insecurity in them, and they don't feel capable in your company, and that's why they're going for women that are not as accomplished, because at least they can show them that they could do more. The second law is never put too much trust in friends. Learn how to use enemies. When it comes to getting a one-up and becoming a baddie, and getting the life that you want, this means, sadly, that you will have to understand that not every woman is gonna be on your wavelength when it comes to you being strategic about getting the life that you want. You cannot be putting too much trust in every single woman around you, not because you can't rely on women. Women are more reliable than men in general, but a lot of women are still caught in this idea that they need to be moral, they need to be good, they need to be nice in order for them to be able to be around men. And that's not yours to change. That's not yours to awaken them from. And if you try too much to awaken other women to make them have a better life, they're gonna actually despise you more, and you're gonna have a harder time moving in silence and getting the things you want, because you're essentially revealing your strategies and they might even tell on you. And this also goes for friends and family. Maybe you're someone like you want a better life for yourself. You want to have a glow up. You want to become a better version of yourself. You want to become the baddie version of yourself. You cannot be telling everyone in the mom that you're like becoming a better version of yourself, because they're going to become envious and they're going to have an easier in on you to try to pull you down. So it's better for you not to reveal all of your cards. This is why it is better to learn how to use men to better your life strategically, because they know that women have a tendency to be played, and therefore they also feel like if you act a little dumb or if you ask for more, they feel like they need to give you that, so they have more to prove. Essentially, you got to use your enemies. They will be more loyal to trying to prove themselves if you let them prove themselves. If you give them a chance to prove themselves, even though that everyone is talking about how men are terrible, then they're like, oh, I gotta prove myself more. So they're gonna do more. Law number 3, conceal your intentions. As I said before, you cannot be telling everyone and their mom, and especially not men, what you're up to. When it comes to you getting your life, getting everything that you want, you cannot be telling these men, you cannot be telling everyone that you know about your intentions and your plans to get more. If they have no clue what you're up to, they cannot prepare a defense, okay? This is again where it's a really, really good idea to kind of play that little ditzy, little bit of a dependent type of girl. If you act like men are all that around men, or if you kind of make up problems in your life, like things that you have going on that are not really things that you have going on, but you just kind of make it look like you're kind of worse off than you are, then people are going to underestimate you. They're going to think that you are dependent on them, especially men. And it's going to be much easier for you to move in peace. But with this one, with the whole acting like you're attached, you can only act like you're attached if you are someone who already knows how to not be attached. Because for a lot of you girlies out there, you acting attached will make you attached. And then everything will crumble as soon as things don't go exactly your way. And you will literally put yourself in a bad situation because you do not have any boundaries when it comes to some man doing something. Like when a man messes up, you apologize for it. So you can only go about it, concealing your intentions and kind of acting like, ooh, you love a guy more than you really do. If you truly know how to master detachment, but it's a really, really important law to master because it will truly protect you and it will keep you able to focus on everything that you got going on. Because they think, oh, that girl who's got all of that on her plate, she's not being strategic. She can't even handle that right now. I'm gonna help her out. And then they help you to actually get to the next level. Law number 4, always say less than necessary. This one is really important, you girls. You need to understand that you are talking too much. You're oversharing, you're overdoing, you're over this and over that. These laws right here in this book, they're written down by a man. So if you're a girl and you use these, this is exactly how you outsmart men. And women have a tendency to talk way too much. We have a tendency to talk and talk and talk. And you know why? It's because we have been conditioned to believe that we need to share and be open with each other. And the only reason we've been conditioned to do that is because that way we get a trauma bond with people, especially with men, and then they get easier access to us, okay? If we share more, then we feel like we need to stick around with people more. We're afraid of letting people go because we've already shared so much. That's why you need to stop sharing that much. You need to get better at lying. You need to get better at having an alibi. You gotta act like a specific type of character. And you might say, oh, that's hard. I don't want to be lying. You gotta learn to lie. If you don't want to learn how to lie, you can't be using these laws, okay? The more you say, the more common you appear, and the less in control you are. But you can also use this to your benefit. If you want a man to think that you are not as smart as you are, start oversharing about things that really don't matter that much. And he'll think, oh, we're so connected. I don't know, make up some fake story about something that's gone wrong in your life. I'm so afraid of trees, falling down from a tree because not that long ago I fell down from a tree. This is exactly where it's a good idea to be a little ditzy. Like, if you say ditzy stuff, rather say a lot more ditzy stuff and let them think that you're stupid than say a bunch of stuff that they can use against you. And in general, the less you say, the less likely you also are to say something that you regret saying. And if you're someone who has oversharing issues and you always want to overshare, start oversharing with ChatGPT. Start oversharing with your diary. Don't overshare with men. And don't overshare with everyone, like people that you think are your friends. They're not always your friends. Law number 5 is so much depends on your reputation. Guard it with your life. The best way to interpret this law when it comes to you getting power and tricking men and getting the life you want as a girly is you gotta stop sharing as much as you're doing on social media. You have to start portraying the life that you want. And maybe you can't be doing exactly everything that you want to be doing. Like maybe you want to go on vacations and go on shopping sprees or whatever. But you cannot be sharing everything that's on your mind on social media, because believe it or not, the men are like waiting for you to have a moment where you're slipping up and you're getting desperate. They're waiting for you to be like, I'm so lonely, I wish I had a man. And that will forever kind of ruin your chances of having a one up on them, because they're going to think, oh, you're just wanting validation, which is what you want. That's what you're saying when you say that. And today our reputation is like more managed through our social medias, which is why you can't be sharing all of this and all of that on social media. You can't be sharing everything that you're doing all of the time, especially if you're just like doing things that are just like regular. Maybe you want to be regular and relatable, but unless that's a career for you, there's no reason for you to be up on social media sharing your regular life. Oh, I'm watching another TV show for the 5th time this week. I'm watching TV, I'm just eating, I'm just, out for a walk. They're gonna clock that you have nothing going on, and they're gonna be like, oh, well, you can't demand all of this and all of that. Your social medias need to look like they're foolproof. Like, the life that you want, that's the life you need to portray. And if you don't have that life, it's better to share less, okay? Because they can't know if you have that life if you don't share it. That's all up in your brain, and they don't know what's going on in your brain. If they're gonna ask you for pictures of you going on vacation, then like, who do they think they are, okay? But only share things that match the life that you want, because you're essentially building the reputation of the person that you're trying to become. And if you're out here looking desperate, like you sprayed desperation body spray all over yourself, like your energetic body odor is gonna be really, really clear. It's gonna be smelly. And that's when these men know that they got you. And if anyone is trying to come up to you and say that's not the life you're living or yada yada, you're not all that, you have to stop engaging with these people, because you engaging with them is literally proving to them that you are not all that. It's literally proving to men or haters or whoever that you're not energetically up here yet. You're still like lowering yourself to match them, which means that you haven't really gotten to the place where you can set the boundaries you need to set, aka that you can expect the life that you want, okay? Don't get defensive about things that are not things that you want in your life. If people are saying you're ugly, if people are saying you're mid, if people are saying wow, you're boring, you are not. So don't interact with that. Law number 6 is court attention at all costs. Everything is judged by appearance. Girl, this is one of the ones that you might not want to hear. What is unseen counts for nothing. The way that you dress, the way that you show up, it counts when it comes to you getting the life that you want. You need to be both loud in the way that you come off, like, oh, you look like you got it, but at the same time, you got to be mysterious. So that's where you have to just talk less. Look like you got it, look like you're all that, but then don't be as physically like talkative, because that's gonna make people want to be like, who's that girl? Because if you're sharing everything with everyone, again, that's not making you mysterious, and you're not really courting attention. You're just letting people have a lot, and then they're like fed up, and then they're moving along because they're like, oh, she's a lot. Not like, ooh, who is she? She's all that. But this is also why, if you're someone who's like always used to hiding yourself, if you don't make an effort with your looks, if you don't make an effort with how you show up in general, how you carry yourself, that's gonna have to change, or else you're not gonna be able to outsmart these men. And when it comes to this law, another thing you have to remember is you always have to switch things up. Because men, as much as they say that they like women who are like the nice girl, that's just because they can control her. The woman that they really like and the woman that they chase, the woman that they want, is a woman who switches things up and who's not afraid of trying out new things and who's not afraid of just like living in that single girl energy. The reason that men get like tired of their girlfriends as soon as they get in a relationship is because suddenly she's like not even doing anything about her looks. She's just wearing sweats. She's always doing the same thing. It's because she gets comfortable. The way that you make these men enticed is that you stay in your single girl energy even if you're in a relationship. I can make a whole other video about single girl energy. Single girl energy is much more powerful than feminine energy. It's kind of related, but it's more powerful. So you gotta stay in your feminine, you gotta stay in your single girl energy, and you gotta keep things like switched up. You gotta like switch things up, keep them on their toes. Like, ooh, they don't know what to expect. You're trying something new, you're doing something different, you're looking different. Just your looks in general, that's enough for them. Like if you change your looks a little bit, like, oh, you're wearing this type of style one week and the next week you're wearing this other style, they're gonna be like, oh, what I can't control her. Law number 7, get others to do the work for you, but take the credit. Basically, you have to get others to do the work, like do more work for you, do more for you, but you're going to be the one acting like you already had it like that. That's the single girl energy. You're not going to be trying to constantly, when you're out and about, you're meeting new people, talk about how that person and that person and that person helped you out with achieving this and this and this. You got to come off as if you already have that, because then it's like, okay, they got to step on another level. They got to give you more to accommodate you, but that doesn't mean that you don't let people help you out, okay? That doesn't mean that you're not willing to get the help that you need. If you already act like you have a soft life, not that you're chasing a soft life, not that you're waiting for some man to come and solve your problems, then they're going to be more likely to give you a soft life. They're going to be more likely to give you princess treatment. But I will say, when it comes to this law, that there is a way for you to twist it. And that is, you can also kind of let the men in your life take the credit for what's good. Like, oh, my dad always does this for me, or my brother always does this for me. Because then it's going to be very clear that if you do not get what you want from a man, then you will have no problem getting it somewhere else. And that is truly scarcity for these men. They're going to be more likely to do more for you. Don't be afraid to give the men in your life credit while you're around other men. It's going to make you seem like you're someone who really knows how to inspire men to do things around you. And they're going to be like, I want to be around this girl more. I want to do more for this girl, because you're not afraid to praise men. The men that do things for you. Only the men that do things for you. Law number 8, make other people come to you. Use bait if necessary. And what does make other people come to you, use bait if necessary, mean when it comes to you outsmarting men and getting the life you want? Well, you cannot be chasing no man. You have to stop chasing men. You have to stop asking men for their numbers. Stop asking men for their Instagram. They have to ask you. And if they do not ask you, they do not want you. That's the easiest way to figure it out. Maybe he's cute. Maybe he's this. Maybe he looks like he's rich. If he's not asking you, he doesn't want you enough, okay? That doesn't mean that you can't look enticing. Use bait if necessary means that you look enticing. You have open body language, especially if you're in the type of environment where the men that you want in your life are. You have to look friendly, beautiful, feminine, because that's going to make men believe that they're chasing you, like they need to chase you. It's like in their nature, like, oh, there's a feminine woman, I need to chase her. It's in my nature that I need to go for her. But don't chase no man, okay? Use your looks as bait. Use your feminine demeanor. Make sure you look good. Make sure you're not wearing dirty clothes. Make sure that you, maybe instead of wearing pants all the time, you wear skirts more. Do your makeup. Do your nails. Wear jewelry. Look like this little golden item. Look like the prize. A prize is usually shiny, so you gotta look a little shiny. And the reason why this is so important, that you cannot be the one trying to lure these men, you cannot be the one trying to approach these men, is because it's gonna seem like you're here to manipulate them. That's why when you're a girl and like you're a single girl in your early 20s and you go to some bar alone, you look like you're bait. Like, you look like you're manipulating men. You have to make it seem like he's the one coming to you, because then it looks like he's in control. Then it looks like he's the one controlling the territory, and he's going to be way less suspicious of any power moves that you make. Essentially, by baiting him, you give him the illusion that he's in control, while in reality you're in control. And this way he's willing to do more because he feels like he's the one who's controlling the situation. When it comes to you never chasing men as well, this also comes emotionally. You cannot be the one trying to always make up. Sometimes you need to remove your emotion and leave that space so they can come to you, that they can chase you. And what I just said is directly related to law number 9, which is win through your actions, never through argument. If you want men to do more for you, if you want men to act right, if you want men, maybe you want your current man to do more, maybe you want your current man to treat you like the price you want, you're gonna have to stop chasing him. You're gonna have to start focusing more on yourself. AKA, you're gonna have to shift the energy, the dynamic in the relationship, or your dynamic in relationships with men through action, not through word. If you're always talking about, I want you to do more for you, you're never doing enough for me, I feel left behind, my emotions, this and that. He might listen. If he's a good enough guy, he might listen, but we're not going to assume that he's like that smart. If instead you start focusing more on yourself, aka you focus more on your looks, you start looking, again, as I said before, the single girl energy, you put in effort into yourself like you're a single girl. That is a power move, putting in effort into yourself like you're a single girl. That is something that's going to give you power in a relationship. And that doesn't mean that you got to go and talk to your guy about like you're gonna leave him. No, you still gotta be nice. That's the thing. Like, you gotta make it seem like, oh, that there's nothing to be suspicious about. But essentially you have to be more inward with your energy. So you gotta, put more effort into your makeup, put more effort into how you dress, put more effort into how you show up. Like, oh, you have all of these hobbies and these hobbies. Maybe you have to start talking about how you're gonna get a new job, or you're gonna like, maybe you have your business you need to focus on, you have a lot of responsibilities coming up, so you're not going to have that much energy for it. That's basically the only talking part you need to do. But he needs to see that your energy is not as available through you literally having to put energy into the business that you're making or whatever it is you're doing. And that way he's going to be able to see, okay, I need to step up, or else I'm not going to be able to have access to her, because probably you've made yourself way too accessible in the past. And that is exactly why he doesn't think you're the prize. He doesn't think you're all that, because he can literally just have you like this. He can just be like, go and walk into another room and there you are. And you can talk and you can have fun and you can do whatever, all of that stuff. And he doesn't even need to step up in order for you to be there. Like, you're just gonna be there. If you get in an argument with a man or with your boyfriend, if it's just a man, like, why are you even arguing, first and foremost? But if you get in an argument with a man, or a man wants to argue with you, most likely that's what's gonna happen. He's gonna want to argue with you. Then you just need to be like, oh, I see what you're saying. That's if you start being more calm and collected, like, instead of bursting out, oh, I see what you're saying. You know what? I have a lot on my plate right now. I'm going to be thinking about that, and I'm glad you brought it to my attention. Then he's going to be stunted. He's going to be like, ooh, she didn't react emotionally. And, you just go about your day. You're just going to be like, you know what? I have a lot on my plate. I'm going to have to think about that, and I really appreciate you bringing it to my attention. When you remove that energy, he's not going to be able to condition you emotionally to be attached to him, because you're like removing your energy. You're saying, okay, I need to preserve my energy so that I know how to respond. And then he's going to be chasing you. You didn't react with no, you're always doing this wrong and you just hate me and I feel this and I feel that. Men don't understand the whole feeling thing. So instead you just pull your energy back and you're like, oh, I see what you're saying. I see that you're bringing this up. I really appreciate it. I'm going to think about it. Thank you. And then he's going to be like, oh. Law number 10. Avoid the unhappy and the unlucky. Basically, you cannot be around people that hate their life. You cannot be around negative Nancys. You cannot be around people with victim complex. And you cannot be around men with broke mentalities that are on some, well, women need to do more for me. And I'm always doing so much. Like, you gotta leave these people behind because they're gonna set you back significantly in getting what you want in your life. Because if you're a people pleaser girly or an overcompensator girly or an oversharer girly, you're gonna be much more likely to stoop down, take the energy that you haven't fully built for yourself, and you're gonna pour that into them. And you know what's gonna happen then? Then you're gonna end up with a victim complex because you couldn't understand why you being so nice doesn't give you anything in return. Well, you know what? They're taking advantage of your energy. They don't want to grow. They don't want to become a better version of themselves. These men that are always like, I'm gonna get a job, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that, they're not gonna step up. They're just taking your energy, so yet you go into self-love debt so you can't leave. So avoid the unhappy and the unlucky, both men and women, people in general. You cannot be around them. It will take the energy that you need to put into yourself so that you can build that discernment, build those boundaries, and become that version of yourself that you deserve to be. Learn to keep people dependent on you. And the way that you do that as a girly is that you inspire men with your feminine energy. This is why it's like, if you're constantly complaining, if you're constantly like, I hate this, I hate that, men are all bad. Men are not going to feel like they can be dependent on you. Instead, what you got to do is that you need to be feminine and you need to be like happy, giddy. And if you're someone who always wants to complain, maybe you're not ready for a man. But you need to be that fun, inspired role when you're around men. And then they will feel like, first and foremost, they will feel like that release, like that oxytocin. They will most likely feel that when they're around you. They will be attracted to that feminine energy. Men cannot fulfill that feminine role in themselves unless they're like the incel simps that we see in today's world that want flowers. But if you're very, very, very feminine, you're going to be attracting very, very masculine men. And they are going to be dependent on you because they want a woman. This is a man's world, but it would never be in something without a woman or a girl. I don't know. I can't remember the whole song. But basically, it would never be worth it without a woman. If you're a man, like a masculine man, you need a woman. Because that's what makes you feel calm. That's what calms a man's nervous system. So you need to be that happy, funny, creative, joyful power. And I'm not saying you can't bring up problems. When you bring up problems, that's for him to solve. And he loves that. Men love to be problem solver. And that's also another way to keep him dependent on you, is for him to problem solve for you. Like, he feels capable in your company. Like, oh, I always do this for her and I always do this for her. You gotta find problems for this man to solve. That's why it's good to ask him for money, like a little bit of money once in a while. Or like make him put up shelves, make him lift stuff for you, and make him help you out with stuff. Ask him because to him, that's like, oh, she really thinks that I'm like qualified. And when he thinks he's qualified, he's going to be more likely to do even more for you. He's going to be like, what can I do for you? I want you to tell me whenever you have something you need me to do for you. And then he's dependent on you. He's literally dependent on you for him to solve problems, because he feels like when he's around you, he's the man when he solves problems. And when you're happy, that's why you got to be really, really happy. Whenever a man solves a problem for you, you got to be really, really happy. Like, ooh, thank you so much. Thank you so much for that money. Thank you so much for helping me with that. I really appreciate it. Law number 12 is use selective honesty and generosity to disarm your victim. You cannot be telling a man everything that you got going on in your life, but you can use selective honesty, which means that you let a man believe that he knows things about you that you wouldn't tell anyone. Or like, wow, you're really letting him in on these secrets. He's thinking that you're developing a trauma bond with him. You're letting him believe that he's in control, but in reality, you're in control because you're only giving him selective honesty so that he believes that he knows more about you. This way, you bring down his guard because he thinks that he has an in on you. He thinks he has the upper hand. And that way, he lets you move more in peace because he thinks you're dependent on him. This is also why it can be a really, really good idea to make up like fake lies, fake insecurities that you have. Like maybe you're insecure about your height and you're not insecure about your height at all. Or like make up a fake embarrassing story about something that happened to you. Like one time on summer vacation, I had my bikini top stolen by a seagull. And I had to walk all the way back with my towel covering me. I don't know, like make up some fake story where he feels like you've trusted in him with this information. It doesn't have to be like completely serious, but he feels like you've trusted in him with that information. And you can also use that to figure out whether he's someone you can trust. Most likely you can't. He's a man. But essentially, like if he brings that up, or he wants to bring that up against you, like your height or like an embarrassing story, like then you also know whether you can trust him with other information, because he's going to bring that up against you. But the way to use selective generosity with men is that you find some little thing that he likes, like clock something that he likes, and then buy him a little trinket. And I'm not saying you should go out and buy him a bunch of stuff. He should be investing more in you than you invest in him. But for him to have his guards down and think that you're more invested in him than you are, even though that you like don't even care, and you're probably like, maybe you're the type of girl you just want to go on a date with another. The way that you let his guard down, and of course this is if you're dating a man more, like not do this on the first date. Like maybe you have something at home that reminds you of him. Oh, I found this baseball hat. Isn't that something that you like? Or I found this postcard. It really reminds me of you. I made you a playlist. He's going to be like, oh, she's already detached. And then he's going to think like he's in control, and then you're going to be able to move in peace. Law number 13, when asking for help, appeal to people's self-interest, never to their mercy or gratitude. When it comes to you getting help, getting better accommodation, getting princess treatment, the last thing you have to do is to act like you never got it. The last thing you have to do is show up in your dirty clothes and be like, I need a man to take care of me because I can't take care of myself. The one thing that I usually hear is that a lot of the neurodivergent girlies that want better accommodation and that are burned out, they say that, well, if I want people to take better care of me or accommodate me more, or a man to accommodate me better, then maybe I should look like I can't take care of myself, because then he's going to have mercy for me. If you appeal to that side of a man, then he's going to think you're a charity case. And if he thinks you're a charity case, he's not going to feel like he's gaining anything for himself by having you in his company. And he's going to feel kind of like it's a chore to have you around, which is why he's probably not going to want to have you around. He's not going to feel like you're making him look better. You're going to make it feel like he's like someone who's a sellout. That's what men feel like if they're constantly feeling like they're giving money or giving help or accommodating a girl who's not even willing to help herself. Is like, oh, you're not looking good. You're like literally showing up like who did it and why all the time, like crying, talking to everyone about your problems. Like that's gonna look like you're just having him around for charity, and he's gonna feel totally played. It's better for you to cater to his self-interest, which means you need to focus on your looks. You need to look good. You need to smell good. You need to show up like you got it together. And then maybe you can get help because you're like honest with him. That's the honesty, selective honesty. Oh, you know what? I could really use help with that. He's going to be like, you know what? This beautiful girl, I want her to stay this beautiful so that I look like I'm the man when I'm around her, because your beauty matters. Your beauty is currency. He wants you to be around him because being around him is going to make him look better. So he's gonna want to do more for you so that he can spend more time around you so that you can make him look better. That's why you got to cater to a man's self-interest. You got to look better. You got to look good. You got to make sure that you take care of yourself. Make sure your hair looks nice. Make sure your nails are done. Make sure your makeup is done. Make sure you don't wear dirty clothes. And again, this also goes for the type of girlies that show up on a date and they're like, I'm broke, and they're like, they have a Louis Vuitton bag, they have fake nails, they have fake lashes, they look done up. It's like, girl, you're looking for charity, because at this point, how come you're asking for this help? You're saying you're broke, but you are done up. You're gonna literally tell a man, I think you're a fool. And a man doesn't want to hear he's a fool. He wants to think you're the fool and that he is doing something that's going to pay him back. And it's better for you to kind of like act like, oh, you got things going on, but you don't want to tell him your problems. Like, I don't want to tell you this because it's kind of embarrassing, but you know what? I could really use help with this. Then he feels like he's the man for bringing that out of you. But if you go on a date with a guy and you're like, I'm broke, give me money. Like, he's going to be like, huh? Pose as a friend. Work as a spy. This is where it's really good to come off a little ditzy, a little stupid, and make men around you seem like, oh, you don't think they're that bad. You don't think that they're going to try to play you. You know they're going to try to play you. Make it seem like your guard is down, because then their guard is going to come down and they're going to be able to spill all of their secrets, all of the beans around why men act the way they do. And you're going to be able to use that for your benefit to be able to move up. This is especially very, very good if you're a girly who wants to move up socially, like social status wise. Maybe you're someone who's used to hanging around people that don't have it that good. This is where it's better to play dumb, kind of like act like everything is dandy and you're not trying to challenge them. Like, you shouldn't be acting like you're trying to take a one up on these men. You should just kind of like fool around, have fun with it. And if you play dumb, you cannot be beautiful and be smart at the same time. Mind you, like in these environments, in the less educated environments, you cannot be both smart and pretty. You just have to be pretty and like let them think that you're just like, you're so ditzy that you don't understand that they're trying to play you. But you're also so ditzy and dumb that you need more help with things because you can't figure things out on your own. That's how it works. And then they let you move in peace. They let you do whatever it is you want. And then they think that they got a one up on you. And essentially, you can sniff out more about them. Like they will let their guards down. They will let you in on more of their secrets. And then you can literally just move, like make your moves strategically. Ask stupid questions like, oh my God, how did you become so strong? Or what do you really think about that? I don't know. I don't understand it. What do you think? Tell men that you think that they're your friend, especially the men that you're not really interested in dating. Like they think that you're going to be interested in dating them. But if you tell them, oh, you know what? I consider you my friend. I really need your honest opinion about something. Then they think that they got an in on you, and whatever they're going to tell you is them just trying to be strategic to get you into bed, honestly. And that's when you know that if you play that move, then you're going to be able to clock how men think, and you're going to be able to move better strategically because you're going to be like, oh, okay. Then that's how you know that you need to move strategically, because you're like, men are really like willing to do anything. They're really to be very sly, very strategic themselves. So you got to be having one up on being strategic, but you can't let them know that you're being strategic. You cannot let them know that you know that they know that you know that they know. Law number 15 is crush your enemy totally. When it comes to men, that means cutting men out when they appear to be enemies. If they really do you dirty, you gotta cut them out, girl. Again, this is the type of person you cannot have around you. If they are not giving you anything, they're taking, which means that they're your enemy. So cut them out. Crush your enemy totally. Block, block, and block. As soon as you see someone sending you a terrible message on Hinge, block. As soon as some guy is saying, can you come over? Block. As soon as a guy says, oh, you're really, really bougie, block. Especially when you're trying to date them. In the other environments where you're not trying to date them, but they're thinking that you may date them, then that's where you gotta act ditzy, like around co-workers or something. Law number 16 is use absence to increase honor and respect. Basically, you just gotta retract your energy more and like be more alone, have things you gotta do for yourself, gotta be busy, you gotta stay in the single girl energy, as I said before. You gotta have things that you got going on for yourself. You cannot be out and about trying to always do stuff for men. Oh, we should hang out, we should do more. When are you free? When are you free? When are you free? Like, girl, when is he free? Like, he should be wondering when you're free. He should be like, when are you available? When do you have time? You create your value of who you are through scarcity, which means that the less you interact with a guy, or like the more you create distance, however that's physical distance or like verbal distance, like you just got things going on for yourself, that guy's going to be more attracted to you. That's also why you can't be posting everything on social media. Like you can't be talking about everything that you got going on and everything that you're doing. You should only be showing what you want. Like, oh, you got a new bag, post the bag. They're going to be like, ooh, okay, she's not someone who's just trying to like emotionally put herself out there all the time. Like she guards herself, and then that's going to give them more respect of you, and then they're going to also be willing to do more for you. Law number 17, keep others in suspense. Cultivate an air of unpredictability. You have to be consistently inconsistent, girl. This means you got to change up your hair sometimes. You got to change up your outfits. Your hair, maybe that's not the best idea. Sometimes it's better just to let your hair be. Speaking as someone who's really done a lot with her hair in the past. Change up your makeup. Do something different with your lashes. Wear some new jewelry. Get a new tattoo. Tell someone you're not going to get a tattoo and then get a tattoo. Go to a concert. Go do something new. Go try this. Go try that. Learn a new language. You got to be unpredictable. You just have to be consistently inconsistent, okay? That's the best thing to do, because then they don't really know where they have you, and then they're going to be like enticed. Nothing is more terrifying to a man than the unpredictable and something that they don't know how to control. So if you're a little unpredictable, I'm not saying that you know, like, oh, I'm moving country, but then it's going to be like, okay, I got to keep on my toes to make sure that I know what's going on with her. And strike without warning. Don't tell everyone that you're gonna change or you're gonna do something. Like, you don't need to tell every one of these men everything you got going on. No. Law number 18 is do not build fortresses to protect yourself. Isolation is dangerous. You cannot be bedrotting. You cannot be sitting at home doing nothing outside. You have to do more outside. You have to, maybe you go study in a public place, like at a coffee shop. Maybe you go for walks outside. You need to be outside. You cannot be sitting at home because it's dangerous for you to just isolate yourself, because you know what? You're going to be dependent on everything that you have at home. We have food at home. You know, the food at home isn't as good as the food that's outside. It cuts you off from valuable information to always be at home. And it makes you understand that there are much more options out there. There are so many opportunities out there when you are out. And when you are out there, the crowd is literally going to be able to shield you from your enemies, aka from other men. It also says here in the book, fortresses are also vulnerable to the plague and contagious diseases. You're more likely, if you isolate yourself with only one man, like if you only date one man, for example, you're in the dating stages, you're not even like sworn to this man, and you're already being attached to this guy that you've known for 2 weeks, and you're like FaceTiming 6 hours a day, and you're just at home and you're like, I'm just always alone and lonely. Girl, you become an easy target because he knows every little into you. You're gonna overshare when you are having a 6-hour phone call, because you're probably a people pleaser or an overcompensator or whatever. You're gonna be an oversharer. You're gonna be oversharing with him. You're gonna be sharing things that you shouldn't be sharing, and that's gonna be an in for him. He's gonna be like, oh, I have you available at any time, bet. And that's how you're gonna contract these diseases that happen in fortresses, because you're so isolated that you literally end up not being able to escape the bubble of the problems that you've created. Like, you're gonna be overthinking way more when you isolate yourself than when you go out and mingle. If you ever notice that, you know, if you've gone out for one night, you're like, you know what, all of these people got their own problems. You're gonna be way more focused on yourself if you actually go out and see that everyone else is very focused on themselves. And then you're gonna be also understanding that you don't need to sit up in your little castle and rot. And for all of you neurodivergent girlies who say, I just want to be alone, you can be alone outside. You can go to the coffee shop. You can go to like nice environments, go window shopping, whatever it is. Just don't be inside all day. Law number 19 is know who you're dealing with and don't offend the wrong person. Again, when we're talking about the whole, you cannot be talking to your girlfriends or all of your guy friends or whoever about the strategic moves that you're trying to make. What you're watching here, this YouTube channel, this has to stay between you and yourself, and maybe like a one person in the comment section that you feel like you vibe with. Not everyone's going to react to your strategies the same way. They're not going to think that you're some genius. They're going to think that maybe you're stupid. They're going to think that you're a threat. And you know what they're going to do? They're going to try to tear you down. That's why you cannot be trusting everyone with your strategies. You cannot be trusting all of your girlfriends, because a lot of girls, as I said before, said in the beginning of the video, they are governed by guilt. So whatever it is you're doing that is selfish or that is not like totally moral and nice girl, good girl vibes, then they're gonna be like, ooh, no. And they might be telling on you. Like, imagine you're going out with your girlfriends and you're sitting at the bar and they start talking about how you're like some strategic girl who only wants to take money from men, or like you only want to, like, you, all of this. Honestly, it can kind of work sometimes, but they might even use it against you, like talking to your man about you being strategic. You don't want that. You don't want that. Your friends, you cannot be sure that they're your friends. The only friend you have is yourself. Do not commit to anyone. Again, when this comes to the whole dating thing, girlies, you understand that that means you are single until you're married, or at least until you find a man who's actually going to be able to take such good care of you that you do not need to be on the market. If what you got at home is better than what's in the market, then you stay home. But he's got to be able to provide that for you. But if you commit yourself, then you're also, it's kind of like when you agree to terms and conditions when you're opening a website or like an app or something, you are going to feel more enticed to doing more for people or people pleasing or being nice, because you feel like you've entered into an agreement. And that's how you're more easily able to get played if you're not someone who has very strong boundaries or a very strong mentality, or if you're not someone who's worked on your people pleasing. The key to understanding that you shouldn't be committing to anyone is because people think you're actually more desirable when other people desire you. You cannot let yourself feel obligated to anyone. You have to live in that single girl mindset, maybe even if you're in a relationship. And that doesn't mean that you're out here like jumping into bed with people, or you're not even out there talking to people. You can be in a committed relationship and also still use this law, because you just got to make sure that the only person you're mostly committed to is yourself, and you don't have to tell your man that. You're stupid if you tell your man that. But make sure you operate in that single girl energy, which means that you still do yourself up like if you were single. You still make sure that you look good. You still make sure that everything is taken care of, like you do yourself like you're single, and you carry yourself like you're the prize. You commit to yourself. You do not like blindly commit and say, okay, now I'm gonna start dressing in like only sweatpants and never do my makeup because I'm comfortable. Then they're gonna be like, okay, I got you, and then they're not gonna desire you. You got to live in that single girl energy. This one is the law that I love, and it's seem dumber than you are. If you make your victims, men, feel smart, then you can figure out what their true intentions are, and then you can clock that in your strategy bank, and you can use that against them while you appear dumb so that they don't suspect you. The easier people think it is to prey on you, aka the dumber they think you are, the easier it is for you to turn the tables on them because they don't expect you to be smart. That's why when you're a beautiful woman, it's better to come off a little dumb, because that way they don't think that you got all that power in you. And this one goes out to all of you neurodivergent girlies out there that have zero social cues like me. It's good to use this to your benefit. Having zero social cues is actually a good thing, because that way you come off as if you don't understand everything that's going on, and you're going to be able to come off as if you're dumber than you are because you're probably really, really smart. So then they don't really suspect you. Intelligence is a really, really obvious quality to downplay, because people don't really expect that you want to downplay your intelligence. Everyone's always trying to act more intelligent, especially women nowadays. They always want to seem like they're the boss. They always want to seem like they're really, really smart. So if you make people think that they're smarter than you, then they will want to keep you around, aka they will want to be dependent on you, because you make them feel good about themselves. And the more you stick around when they think that you're not that smart, the more opportunities you'll have to deceive them and get more out of them, okay? Law number 22, use the surrender tactic. Transform weaknesses into power. Do not give a man the satisfaction of fighting and defeating you. This is where sometimes it's better to make a man act like he's right, even though you know he's not. It's going to give you more time to be strategic. Maybe you have a man who treats you well, but you know what? You're thinking like, maybe this isn't it. The best thing for you to do, like, oh my God, honey, what you've been saying recently, it really hit me. And, I really appreciate how the connection we have, it just feels so deep. And you know what? I'm going to try to listen to you more. A man probably wants to fight you, and you're going to not give him that satisfaction, which is why it's better to surrender. And then he's going to be like, oh, she surrendered, then there's nothing fun in fighting. And then he's not gonna he's gonna think that he's in control because you just surrendered, but he's not gonna get the satisfaction of fighting, and he's just gonna leave you more alone because he knows you're not gonna get triggered. The only way you can get kind of like at the best strategic way to get triggered in this scenario is for you to be like a little controlled emotional. You're so right. You know what? I've just been thinking so much, and I really appreciate what we have. You're right. This does not mean surrendering yourself, like with your body and everything, like giving him access to that. That's literally called conditioning. That is you conditioning yourself to being available to a man if he does you wrong. That's wrong. That's bad. But instead be like, make it seem like you're emotionally invested. Like, oh, I'm so sorry. You're so right. You can play that in his face, because then he thinks you're attached, but you're not really. This teaches you patience and self-control, because then you have to do all of your strategic thinking by yourself. And it also makes you able to conceal your moves better, because he's not going to expect you to plot revenge, to do your strategic work when it seems like you're down, and when it seems like you're sorry, and when it seems like you're thinking. What you're really thinking about is your strategy, but what he thinks you're thinking about is everything that's happened between you guys. All of the things that you've been doing, and how, all of the emotions. He thinks you're thinking about how you feel and like how much you love him, but in reality, you're thinking about all of the things that you're not really you don't want to put up with anymore. So he thinks that he's won. He hasn't, and that way you can actually sniff out more, because his guard goes down, and then you can learn even more about men that you can use to your benefit. Law number 23 is concentrate your forces, and I'm gonna say this one really quickly, which means that you just gotta focus on yourself. Focus on yourself, focus on yourself, focus on yourself. you got to be single for a little bit. You got to understand that being single is not a bad thing. When men say that you're single is like a bad thing, or like they use single as an insult, it's because they want you to go into a relationship so that you don't focus on your self-worth. But another part of this concentrate your force is don't be afraid. If a man really likes you and he has a lot to offer, don't be afraid to settle for that man for now. And I don't mean settle for him for the long run. Milk that cow. Get him to do as much as you can for you, because that way you will have more energy to be able to pour into yourself. It's kind of like you're single, especially if you're emotionally detached, because then it's like this man is just like some guy who really helps you out with stuff. And that's actually how it should feel to be in a relationship. I'm telling you, when you affix yourself to one source of power that gives you adequate enough for you to be able to elevate yourself, then you can milk that. You should. Law number 24. Play the perfect courtier. A courtier is someone who makes men feel like they're more capable, and then they're going to keep you around because you make them look better. And that's a really, really good role to play, because it's going to make you able to move up faster socially. If you act impressed and you inspire men, they're going to leave you to be strategic because they think they got you. Depending on the type of man you're talking to, you must change your style and the way of your speaking to suit each person. And don't be afraid to ask for favors. This is exactly what you got to do with men. If you want to be a good courtier, men really want to do things for you. That's in their nature. If you get into a good habit of asking men for favors, even if they're small, they're gonna feel more capable in your company, and they're gonna want to take them with you in moving you upwards. And then that's how you get all the good stuff, honey. And you cannot be too cynical either. You cannot be like, I'm not impressed. Sometimes you have to act a little impressed, not too impressed, but impressed enough so that they feel like you're inspiring them to do more for you. And with being the perfect courtier, sometimes you have to inspire people by being a little bit creative. Like, ooh, you have some crazy ideas, but they're not that crazy. This is why sometimes if you're a girly and you got a lot of tattoos, sometimes it's a good idea to cover them up, especially when you're just meeting a man. But if you're beautiful, it doesn't really matter, because they're going to be like, oh, she's really enticing. Like, you got a lot of tattoos. You're really like, you're a little bit different. But then in the way that you act, you might have to come off a little conservative, or like a little more like, oh, you like men that do things for you. Because then they're going to be like, wow, women that look tattooed and women that look alternative can also ask men for favors. They're gonna be like, wow, she's a rare gem. This is power play, girl. You're playing it to your favor. You have to be a source of pleasure. You have to come off as like, oh, you're a nice girl who got things going, but you're not afraid of like uttering a little bit of a different opinion, but not too different that basically you're not going to be telling them about the strategies that you're learning right here. But you can be like, I think it's nice when men do more for women, and that men are more like traditional. That's an opinion that a lot of men like they want to hear, but that's like a different opinion that's different enough for men, but it's not too different. Anyways, these were the 24 first laws of power of being a baddie and tricking men. If you want to hear the other 24, let me know in the comment section. We're going to do them in another video. And if you want me to do like the most important laws, maybe I want to do them. Maybe we should do the girly loss of power in another video. Whatever it is. We are going to do more loss of power to get men to do more for you. Loss of being a baddie. Let's do that next. Let me know in the comment section what you'd like, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.